Today I'm making this video for my friend Kim, who is both a swimmer and a sailor. And it's mostly going to focus on upper body, shoulders, core, just some strengthening and stretching. And on Tom's suggestion, I'm going to have a little bit of inspiration, maybe a visual for you today. And I know that Kim often sails with crews that are largely male. So my inspiration for you today is this. Just remember that behind every good man is a good woman rolling her eyes. So I'm going to leave you this to just be amused by while we practice. And we'll get going. So I'm sitting up on a block here. You can always sit on a stack of books. I've also got a necktie, which we're going to use for some shoulder stretching, maybe a blanket to stick under your head or roll under your legs when we're finished. So rest your hands on your thighs, sit up really tall, maybe close your eyes. So as you start to pay attention to your breath, simply the inhale and the exhale, maybe rocking a little bit from side to side, just get your bearings. Perhaps today you want to set as your intention gratitude for someone who is behind you, supporting you. Maybe rolling their eyes at you now and again, but mostly supporting you. Good, so inhale, take your arms up to the sky, maybe float your eyes open, and as you exhale, bring your fingertips right behind those two little bones at the base of your skull, the occipital bones, and draw your elbows way, way back like you're trying to get them to touch behind you. And then just gently start to massage those two little bones in a circular motion. So your spine is long and your ribs are still pulled in. Just breathing, maybe circle in the other direction. Right. Right. So then you're going to drop one arm to the mat, inhale the other arm up and over. Maybe gaze down at the hand on the floor. Trying to make more space in that spine. Good. Inhale, come on up. Exhaling. So remember, you're your own best teacher, right? If you have any back issues, make sure you take care of yourself. Inhale, get long. And come on back up. Good. So now get really, really tall, and you're going to exhale, twist to that first side. So maybe resting your hand behind you, using the arms as a little leverage. You might want to move the neck around a little bit, just get a nice stretch there, see how that feels. Just little half circles. Gently release, inhale, get really tall. Exhale around to the other side. You might notice the difference from one side to the other. And again, if you want to make those little circles with your neck, just relaxing the jaw. Good, and then interlacing your hands behind you. Keep your hips rooted, but then take your knuckles. Here, I'll turn sideways so you can see me. Just take your knuckles straight back. All right. Lifting them as high as you can. Good. And exhaling, gently release. So some simple core strengthening, right? On all fours. Inhale, one leg out behind you. The heel is reaching way far back. And then take the other arm to the ceiling. And take 3 deep breaths here. Maybe even making that ocean sound. Like you're fogging a mirror, but with your mouth closed. And exhaling, gently release. We'll go right to the other side. Inhaling, heel out, thumb up. 3 ocean breaths. And exhaling, gently release. Inhale. Feel your spine really, really long. Exhale, just take your hips back towards your heels. Right? Inhale, spine long. Exhale, back towards your heels. Inhale, spine long. And exhale, this time we'll take a child's pose. So walk your fingertips way far forward. If your head doesn't reach the mat with a flat back, you could rest it on books or a block, right? And then lift your backs of your palms so that only your fingertips are on the mat. You might feel that in your shoulders. So if you swim a lot, this next one you might really feel. Walk your hands as far forward as you can. Your elbows are still lifted. Push your palms into the mat and then bend your elbows without moving your hands. See if you can get your elbows to the mat. You're going to feel this in the outside of your shoulders or your deltoids. This is the one that gets me. Deep breaths. So you know it takes at least 30 seconds to stretch a healthy muscle. And if a muscle has been injured, it can take up to 2 minutes. I'm not going to make you stay there. I probably should. Push your elbows down a little bit more. And inhale, come on back up. Good. So this is a great shoulder strengthener. Drop your elbows down and interlace your hands, right? So this is kind of like dolphin pose. We're basically going into a downward dog, but the thing is you want to push your elbows into the mat, making that space between your shoulders and your ears longer. So no slumping down into the shoulder joints. Really want to push away. Curl your toes under, lift your hips. Inhale, lift one leg. Keep pushing those elbows in the mat. Exhale, put it down. Inhale, lift the other leg. Exhale, put it down. Maybe you walk your feet in a little bit more. Just keep pushing those shoulders into the mat. So our head is free. It's not resting on your hands or on the mat. Pull your low belly in and exhale. Go ahead and come on up onto your knees. Good. So we're going to do a little work with the necktie. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. You're going to take the tie and hold it kind of wide, far apart, right? The goal here is to keep your elbows straight. And on an inhale, you're going to take your arms up overhead, and exhale, drop them down by your waist. So if you didn't feel that stretch in your shoulders, then walk your hands in a little closer. If you had to bend your elbows, take your hands a little wider. So inhale, get tall. Ooh, exhale, relax. Inhale, keep those baby ribs dropping down. Exhale. Nice. Inhale. Exhale. Putting a little pressure on the tie, pulling a little bit tight. Good. Exhale. So this one, try not to overthink. We're just going to make figure eights. So I'm just going to be your mirror. Inhale the tie over one shoulder. Exhale it down. Then inhale, back up, and exhale around to the front. So keeping the spine pretty much even and just working the shoulders. So the key is to get the arms down, the hands down by the waist, both back and front. All right, so here we are on the front. Now we're going to reverse. Again, try not to overthink it. Just like you're looking in a mirror. Nice. Keep the shoulders nice and open. Good, and let go of the tie and shake them out. And then we're going to go to a wall. So find a wall where you can see me the first time around, right? So wherever you are, take the arm that's behind you, so furthest away from the camera, to the top of the wall. Spread your fingers wide and push your hand into the wall. Then you're going to rotate your body around so that you're facing the camera. Push your hand into the wall. Try not to move your hand, and as you exhale, start to drop your hips. So you might feel a nice big stretch in the pectoral muscle, right? Just dropping your hips and your ribs down, taking your hips closer to your heels. Good. Inhaling, come back up, hips right over the knees, and then like your arm is a hand on a clock, walk it back behind you till it's just above 3 o'clock. It might be 9 o'clock for you. So you can keep your other hand on the wall for support. And then see if you can turn your body more away from the wall. So if you want a real challenge here, push the heel of your hand into the wall and peel your fingertips back. You might feel a stretch in the palm and the lower arm. Keep breathing. And exhaling, gently release. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the other wall so that you'll be able to see for the other side. All right, so I'm going to take my other hand up high, spread my fingers wide, and then as I exhale, I'm just going to drop down until I feel that stretch in my pectoral. Keep the neck soft. Nice. And then inhaling, bring the hips right back over the knees. Walk your hand around like a clock face till it gets just above shoulder height. And then see if you can turn your body more away. Keep the shoulder blades dropping down so they're not crunching up by your ears. And then peel those fingertips away. Careful of your knees. Be on a blanket or a carpet or a mat. Good, and exhaling, just gently release. Good. Woo. Come on back to the mat if you had to move. Maybe resting your hips on your heels if you can. If not, just come to seated. All right, just kind of check in and see how your upper body feels. So we're going to finish with a couple of twists. Maybe a puppy dog pose and Shoulders, which is going to stretch both your hamstrings and your upper body. Good. So see if you can keep one heel right under your hip, knee pointing forward, and cross the other foot over top. If you can't do that, or if your hips are really tight, you could sit up on a blanket or a block. If your bottom knee bothers you, just stretch your leg out in front like that. The goal is to get the hips level. Then you're going to inhale, get really, really tall. Take that arm behind you. So mostly using the muscles of our back. Maybe take the other arm forward and to the outside of your thigh. Just gaze over your back shoulder. Roll your eyes if it feels good. Send out some love to that person who supports you. And exhaling, gently release. Just uncross the legs, maybe give them a shake. We'll go right to the other side. So leg out straight if it bothers your knees. If you're able to cross over, that's great. If you can't cross over, you could always rest it just parallel to the other knee. So inhale, get really tall. And use your back muscles, take the opposite arm up to the outside of the thigh. And deepen the twist. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, deepen. And exhaling, gently release. Okay, Shoulders. You could stay sitting up on the blanket or block if you want. Just be careful you don't hyperextend your knee. So one leg stretched out in front, the other foot resting at the inner thigh. So your toes are pointing straight toward the ceiling. Don't let them flop open or in. Inhale, get really, really tall. Rotate towards that front extended leg. And then try and go with a flat back, right? So this is where you could use your necktie again. So there's really no need to round. I mean, you can if you want, but you're not really getting anything out of it. Better to work with a straight, long spine. So if you don't need the tie, maybe you hold the outside of your foot. Again, finding one place to rest your gaze and following your breath. Good. Inhaling, come on back up. Then you're going to rotate your hips away from that extended leg a little bit. All right? so that when you take the opposite arm up, you can fold directly to the side. So I try never to turn my back to my students, but it's occurred to me that I can't see you anyway, so it's a moot point here. You just do whatever you have to do to be able to see me. Or roll your eyes at me, or do whatever you want to do. And inhaling, slowly and gently come on back up. And just twist toward that bent leg for a little counter twist. Good. And we'll go right to the other side. All right, so you're going to rotate toward that extended leg, toes toward the ceiling, and fold with a flat back. Use the tie if you need. Or it's your practice. It's not the shape, it's the sensation you feel in your body. Good. Inhaling, gently release. Then you're going to rotate away from that extended leg a little bit. When you raise the opposite arm, you can fold straight to the side. So you got to keep using your low belly to help support your spine. Keep that chest open. Good. Come on back up gently, and just do a little counter twist away from the leg. Good, so we're going to finish with just one brief puppy dog, opening up the chest a little bit more, and then thread the needle and stretch that shoulder. So start on all fours. Hips are right over the knees, right? Stay there. And just start to walk your hands forward. Again, the elbows stay lifted. Maybe your forehead drops to the mat or a block. Maybe you can lift your chin, bow your ribs toward the ground a little bit more. Couple of ocean breaths here. And walk yourself back up to all fours. We're going to do thread the needle from child's pose today, so rock your hips back to your heels, and then just take one arm and go underneath the body, and then drop down onto that shoulder. You've got a bunch of options. You could stretch the other arm forward. You could take it behind you, kind of looking for the hip crease on the other side. Just a few breaths. Come back to child's pose. When you're ready, go to the other side. Good. Inhaling, come on back up. Preparing for Shavasana, so I'm going to take a blanket to tuck under my head. You could always roll a blanket, put it on your spine, or put your blocks under your spine for another chest opener. So don't cheat yourself out of Shavasana, right? Nobody's going to roll their eyes because you took a couple of minutes to be still. No more work. Let the back ribs be heavy. Throat soft. Soft part of the elbows pointed up toward the ceiling. Relax the legs. Perhaps your first action to get moving in today is bending your knees. Maybe do a little bridge pose. Maybe rock your knees from side to side, just feeling that chest still open. Maybe make some circles with your wrists. And then slowly and gently push yourself up to seated, so you might even want to keep your eyes closed. Right, so in a comfortable seated position where your spine can be long. Your lungs can breathe freely. Rest your hands on your thighs. So on your next inhale, take your arms up to the sky. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. The spirit in me honors the spirit in you. Namaste. So go forth, good men and women, with an open heart and maybe some rolling eyes. Namaste.